Episode 4. A Golden Harvest. The glowing green light was so bright that Kalechi had to close his eyes for a short moment. He thought he was about to see a big pile of gold. He thought he would see shiny jewels that would make him the richest man in the whole world. But when he opened his eyes and looked very closely, he saw that the light was coming from something very small. It was a tiny beetle. This was not a normal beetle that you see every day in the garden. This beetle was a very special and very beautiful shade of bright green. It was as bright as a leaf in the morning sun. It was as shiny as a piece of polished glass or a clear emerald. The little bug was moving slowly through the dark dirt. It did not seem to be afraid of Kalechi at all. It moved its tiny legs with great care. It seemed to know exactly where it was going in the dark world under the ground. Kalechi felt the cool air on his face as he worked. Kalechi sat very still in the deep hole he had dug. He watched the beetle climb over a small piece of wood and a tiny pebble. The wind was blowing softly through the leaves of the trees. He felt a very strange feeling in his heart. It was a feeling of pure wonder and peace. He realized that his father was not talking about gold coins that you can spend at the market to buy things. His father was talking about something much more important. He was talking about the life that is hidden deep inside the earth. This little beetle was living and breathing in a place where nobody could see it. It was part of the magic of the land. Kalechi looked at his dirty hands. He looked at the deep trench he had made. He felt a new kind of power inside himself. He knew that the land was not just a place to stand or walk on. The land was alive. It was like a mother that was waiting to give good things to her children if they were willing to work. He felt like the earth was a secret box that was finally being opened for him to see inside. The beetle was very small, but it was also very strong. For the next 2 weeks, the two brothers lived two very different lives. They lived in the same small house, and they ate the same food for dinner. But their days were not the same at all. Kalechi was a man with a big plan. He was a man who wanted to honor his father. He would wake up very early in the morning every single day. He would wake up when the moon was still big and white and round in the sky. The moon was very bright in the dark night sky above them. He would go out to the field when the grass was still wet with the morning dew. The air was cold and fresh and clean. The birds were just starting to sing their very first morning songs in the tall trees. Kalechi did not care about the cold air. He did not care about being tired or sleepy. He picked up his heavy iron shovel and began to work with a strong heart. The iron of the shovel was cold when he first picked it up. He dug deeper and deeper every single day of the week. He worked with a lot of care and a lot of focus. He made long trenches that went from one side of the field all the way to the other side. These trenches were very beautiful to look at. From far away, they looked like the veins on a big green leaf. Some people said they looked like the veins on the back of a giant hand. The trenches were very deep and very long in the earth. Kalechi was very careful with the soil. He removed every single weed that tried to grow in the dirt. He pulled out every old root that was hidden deep in the ground. He picked up every stone, even the tiny little ones, and carried them away to the edge of the field. He worked the soil until it was as soft as white flour between his fingers. It was the most beautiful dirt he had ever seen in his life. It was dark and rich and smelled like the rain and the sun. It was soil that was ready to grow many good things for the people of the village. The soil was very soft and very clean after Kalechi worked on it. While Kalechi was working hard in the field, Obi was doing something very different with his time. Obi did not like the hard work of the farm. He did not like the hot sun on his back. He did not like getting dark dirt under his fingernails. Obi became the joke of the whole village of Amudi. Every day, he would walk down to the main village road. He would find a comfortable place to sit under a big shade tree near the market. He would sit there for hours and talk to everyone who walked by with their baskets and tools. He would tell them long stories about his brother and laugh until his stomach hurt. The market was very busy with many people buying and selling things. "Look at my brother Kalechi," Obi would say with a very loud and mocking laugh. "He has truly lost his mind. He is digging a big hole to nowhere. He thinks there is gold in the dirt, but all he finds are bugs and rocks. He is working for nothing while I am sitting here in the cool shade. He is a fool who loves to sweat for no reason at all. He thinks he is being smart, but he is just being silly." The shade of the big tree was very nice for Obi to sit in all day. The people in the village started to listen to Obi's stories. They started to laugh at Kalechi too. They would pass by the field on their way to the river and point their fingers at him. They called Kelechi the man who talks to the earth. They did not understand why he was working so hard when there was no gold in sight. They thought he was wasting his energy and his youth. But Kelechi did not listen to the laughter of the villagers. The laughter of the villagers was very loud and very unkind to Kelechi. He kept his head down and his eyes on the ground. He kept his shovel moving through the soil. He knew that the truth would come out one day soon. He believed in his father's words, and he knew that his father would never lie to his children about something so important. Kelechi was a very good son who loved his father very much. The field showed the truth about the two brothers more than any words could. On Kelechi's side of the land, the ground was clean and very neat. The trenches were straight and deep and perfect. The soil was ready for the seeds to be planted. It looked like a place where good things and big harvests would grow. It was a place of peace and quiet and hard work. But on Obi's side of the land, things were very different and very messy. Because Obi did not work, the land became wild and angry. Big thorns began to grow everywhere like sharp teeth. The thorns were very sharp and very dangerous for anyone to touch. Tall, prickly weeds covered every inch of the ground. These weeds had sharp points that would scratch anyone who tried to walk past them. The grass was very tall and very green on Obi's side of the field. It was hard to see the dark dirt anymore. The weeds were winning the battle against the farm. Snakes and lizards liked to hide in the tall grass on Obi's side because it was so thick. It was a scary and dangerous place to be. One evening, the sun was starting to set behind the distant hills. The sky was turning a beautiful and warm color of orange and purple and pink. The day was almost over, and the air was becoming cool again. Kelechi was finishing his work for the long day. He was smoothing out the edges of a new trench he had just finished. He was very tired after many hours of work. His muscles were aching, and his hands were covered in hard, thick skin from holding the shovel. But he felt good inside. He felt like he had done a very good job for his family. He looked over the whole field and saw how much he had changed the land with his own two hands. He felt like he was finally understanding what a golden harvest really meant in his heart. It was not about money, but about making the land better than it was before. He felt a lot of hope in his heart for the future. Suddenly, he heard a sound that was not normal. It was a very small and quiet sound. It was a rustle in the tall grass near the dark edge of the woods. Kelechi stopped what he was doing immediately. He stood very still like a statue. He did not breathe at all. He held his iron shovel very tight in his strong hands. He looked toward the trees where the shadows were growing long and dark and cold. The shadows were very long and very dark as the sun went down. The air felt very heavy and very quiet. Even the crickets and the birds had stopped making their noises. Everything was silent. Kelechi looked closely at the moving grass. He saw something move again. Then, he saw two bright yellow eyes staring at him from the deep shadows. They were bright, and they were scary to look at. They did not look like the eyes of a goat or a cow from the village. They did not look like the eyes of a friendly dog. These eyes were looking right at him with a very steady gaze. The yellow eyes did not blink at all as they watched him. They were watching every move he made and every breath he took. Kelechi realized with a shock that it was a person. It was a person who was crouched low to the ground in the bushes. This person was hiding and staying very quiet. They were watching him work. They were spying on him from the dark. Kelechi felt a cold shiver go down his back like ice. Why was this person watching him in the middle of the night? Why were they hiding in the bushes and the dark shadows? Were they waiting for him to find a treasure so they could steal it? Or were they planning to do something even worse to him? The person did not move an inch. They only stared at him with those bright and scary yellow eyes. Kelechi stood in the middle of his beautiful and clean field, and he knew in his heart that he was not alone anymore. Someone else was interested in his work. The mystery of the field was not over yet. It was only just beginning to get more dangerous and more strange. Kelechi wondered if the person was a man or a woman. The mystery was very big and very strange for the two brothers. Let us talk about the story. Why do you think Kelechi felt happy about finding a beetle instead of gold? Is it better to work hard like Kelechi or to have fun like Obi? Why do you think so? Who do you think is the person with the yellow eyes hiding in the grass? If you were Kelechi, would you run away or would you ask the person who they are? Do you want to know what happens next? The secret of the yellow eyes is waiting to be found in the next part of our story. Is it a friend from the village or a dangerous enemy from the woods? The next episode will be full of even more surprises and excitement. To be continued in episode 5. If I get 100 shares now, I will drop episode 5 immediately. Please support us by sharing and liking our stories. Please follow this new channel for more interesting new episodes and stories.